frying pan. We just got out of the theater of watching The Evil Dead Rise, and boy, I mean, I'm sitting here. The movie ended about, I don't know, half hour ago. We just got in, and I'm still shocked and amazed. Like, this movie was everything I thought it would be. I hoped it would be. I'm I'm I am pleasantly surprised. I like I'm almost speechless because look, we've watched movies that we've been anticipating. I can go through the rundown really quickly as I've done in the past. 2021, Antlers. 2022, The Cursed, as well as Orphan First Kill.
Yes.
2023, we can now add Evil Dead Rise to the list of new movies that are
Mind
good
blowing.
good to great. And this, folks, is a great movie. I It was everything I was hoping it would be. Um let's start with the characters.
I retract my rating, by the way.
What?
I was definitely above shallow.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm definitely retracting that.
I knew it would be. The the family dynamic to me really worked. The sister, the main hero sibling, I thought did a really good performance. Like I told Trauma Dom getting out of the theater, she is obviously like instantly mortified by what's going on.
Yeah.
It's it was shown in the Green Band trailer that it appears that that the sister who serves as the primary villain dies, and she's dealing with that. She's dealing with a revelation in the film that she wants that she speaks to her sister about, and then just that within like the same hour she loses her sister. So, and what's interesting to me is that she was like relying on her elder sibling to like calm her nerves and give her reassurance, and now this younger sibling needs to step in and deal with this impossible situation that they get thrust into. And I really liked seeing the hero sister first come to like first just deal with the mind-blowing scenario of what it is that they are now the scenario that they're now thrust into. Watching her react and just freaked out, creeped out. It was really good. It was very believable. um Watching her like start breakdown crying just because it's such an impossible situation that she can't believe is happening. And then watching her go through the paces where she's trying to keep the family hopeful, keep the family together mentally speaking, because of just the sheer absurdity of what it is that they're dealing with. Hats off to this particular character, this particular survivor. What are your thoughts? Just based on the characters.
Just based on the characters. I don't think anyone was overdrawn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that anyone was really outshining the other one, except for my girl, Alyssa Sutherland.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, I thought she was dull in Vikings. She blew me out of the water in this movie.
It was an ensemble cast. Like nobody dominated the screen time.
Exactly.
Uh, something that I was.
I was expecting a ton of virtue signaling,
It
especially
came.
from the hero.
It came to my mind while watching the movie. So there are, two separate generations: the adults and the teenagers and the child. Let's lump the child in with the teenagers. So watching the movie. Now, obviously, I didn't want to make noise during the film. I didn't want to like write a text to Trauma Dom because I didn't want my cell phone distracting me or anybody else. But and this was kind of my impression while watching the trailers. I'm watching this movie and I'm saying to myself, the brother looks like the sister and the sister looks like a boy. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like their hair colors and their hair cuts completely threw me off.
I thought they were twins.
Yeah, it got to the point. So the brother is blonde, and every time he spoke, I'm like, that voice does not belong to that person. So I was just cracking up regarding that. I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil too much. I just want to give my impressions of the film. But the way that, when things start to go bad, the way that the evil is discovered, I thought was really good. One thing I have to say about this movie, very solid setup, payoff. Like they'll mention a thing here, like a member of the household from a different apartment. Like the moment that they mentioned it, I thought they were gonna go in a different direction. Well, I might as well say it because it doesn't really. It was my my thought about what direction they were gonna go in, but they didn't. When one of the other tenants in the apartment, when they mentioned that they have a cat and he goes skulking around in the vents, I'm like, holy crap. They're gonna Evil Dead this cat, but they didn't.
Yeah.
But it was still a good setup and payoff. They have a good setup and payoff in the garage. There was one or two others that I can't remember at the moment, but I remember watching it, thinking to myself, they set this up from before.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah. When they first get to the apartment and the kids are discussing the history of the apartment, I had an inkling that they were subtly weaving it into the plot that of what was to come and where something was going to be found. So I kudos, because that's just good writing. There are so many times where it's called a Deus Ex Machina, where something completely out of left field comes and saves the day.
Deus Machina.
Deus Ex Machina.
Deus Ex Machina.
Deus Ex Machina. And see, now you got me reading Latin. Don't make me do that a third time, because then we're gonna summon something that's gonna infect. That's gonna Evil Dead my car.
Yeah.
So, and there's like this movie has all right. There's different kinds of horror. There can be splatter. There can be jump scare. There can be that creeping tension. There can be that feeling of being watched. There can be subtle suspense, drawn out suspense. There can be like complete silence where you don't know what's going to happen, what direction it's going to come in. There can be paranoia. This movie has excellent creep factor. I mean, I know that we see it in the trailer. Hell, if you're watching this video, you see it in the poster. You see it in the thumbnail for this video. You see it in the picture that I have running on the video. The mother, the who gets possessed. My God, the complete draining of color from her face. For a movie this bloody, like the pale eyes and the pale skin, it was especially noticeable once she comes out of the bathroom. Holy God. I said it in my gut reaction. She looks like a human lizard. She looks like a female version of the Mortal Kombat character Reptile, mixed in with one of the zombies from the Resident Evil movie. The first Resident Evil movie. She just looks so haunting. The look of her is haunting enough. And then she starts saying that really messed up things to her family, further freaking them out. And the smiles and the bug eyes and it's this character.
There's so much that wasn't done by just really good graphics.
Yeah.
And really good side effects. This was just her pulling it off.
Yeah, now that you mention it, yeah. It's no...
I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not some special effects expert, but she had to have done at least half the work.
Yeah, because, I mean, even if the application, and I don't believe from watching this movie that they went excessive with digital effects, but even if they like layered digital effects on top of her look, it's like you said, it's still like mostly her delivering that performance.
Yeah.
And
It's even scarier that she's a supermodel and could appear that scary.
yeah, yeah. And to that regard, like, I mean, again, like, I knew her being a redhead, she was just gonna stand out. And I get that it's different,
the best of
the
ways.
comparison that I'm gonna make, but she stood out much more as a villain than Alice could ever do. Mila Jovovich's character from 6 separate Resident Evil movies, but that's a different
Yeah.
movie entirely. The pacing of this movie is excellent. It's never a dull moment. It never drags. If the movie isn't doing a plot progression, it's doing character development. It's showing you how these they don't have how can I put it? Nobody really arcs in the movie in terms of like a hero's journey or a survivor's tale. It's more how these people react to this situation. They're still good characters, but it's more about how they are responding to this like horrendous, messed up situation that they're stuck in. But that's in addition to how it is that what do you call it? This movie has great setup and payoff. The pacing is really good, and it's no wasted motion. Every scene is either getting more insight into these characters or pushing the plot forward. So kudos to the film for that. Again, it was everything that I thought it would be. I'm so glad that they took after the remake. The beginning of the movie is just the way I thought it would be. It would be at the cabin. And man, is it it's messed up. Oh my god. Jesus, man. Just the sheer brutality that they show you. And again, to go back to my video A Tale of Two series where I compared this latest Evil Dead entry to the Scream sequel that came out a month or two ago. There are uses of gore in the Scream and excessive blood in the Scream movie that is just, I think it just feels like they're doing it for shock value, which I mean at this point falls very, it lands flat, and it doesn't leave much of an impression except that it sticks out instead of contributing to making that sequel stand out, if that makes sense. In this movie, Jesus, it like you get it because the monster are the forces of evil, the minions of the underworld. So it's understood that they're going to twist and marionette people to their own messed up, delight. So it's different in that regard when you see, and they use inventive ways of, contorting people's bodies and breaking bones and stabbing and having people perform torture while possessed on themselves. So it's different. And in this regard, it's creative.
Never cheesy.
It's never cheesy. It's never cheap. It's never like eye-rolling or corny. It's never like desperate. You know what I mean? So, I mean, in this movie, like start to finish, from the cabin scene to the first possession in the apartment to the everything that goes wrong inside of these people's home, to the hallway scene, to the end, I was just like, my God, what are they gonna do next?
I like their iconic first "you're fucked" scene. Remember with Jane Levy, where they like had all the vines like tear her up and this and that?
Yeah.
With this woman, it was what you have to see when you watch this movie.
Right.
But every single one of these Evil Dead movies has that first. What is the word for that? What would be a really good word for that?
I mean, possession.
First possession.
But
first demonic attack. The first.
I would say
there's a word I'm feeling.
The awakening of the presence. Whatever the presence is, that's always like flying around. In the camera chase scene. That's what they call it when like the camera's like swaying back and forth or moving forward through the forest on its way to its first possession. I would call it the awakening. Because like infiltration's
like
another good word. Yeah,
you know,
it awakens. It's like a predator that's stalking its prey, and then it just like pounces, and then, as you said, infiltrates. Man, I've said it dozens of times already. I'm so happy that if we were not gonna get a continuation of Evil Dead remake, if that wasn't gonna get a sequel, if that story's done, I'm glad that the tone is what remains. I get so much more out of this franchise when it tries to scare me than when it tries to make me laugh. Yeah. I get so much more out of the horror than I ever could the humor. It like, and when it like, it's almost like
we've had our decades.
When they do, it's almost like using the same tool but with a different intention. When you're using fire to warm your hands as opposed to burn your skin, that's what I look at. The brutality from the remake, the brutality in this one, it's still present. That is the through line throughout the series. It's just that when they do it with the first and the second movie, when they do it with the series, it just comes off so quirky and oddball and off the wall and left field, and I just don't. It does nothing to entertain me. But when they refocus, when they rejigger and use that same like over the top blood and torture and ghoulish hauntings of of meat sacks, but they do it to scare the hell out of you. I hate to use this phrase, but it hits different. And I cannot be happier that the spirit, pun intended, the spirit of the remake is what persisted in this sequel. I feel like the hero sibling had a really good Ripley moment where she should, like, by the end she shows herself off to be a badass. It's just two sisters that are on opposite sides, and I really give it up to both of them. I give it up to the hero as well as the villain. And I'm not gonna spoil anything, but
I'm so tempted to. It's so hard for me to give away the best parts of that I want, to talk about without destroying it for our listeners.
Right.
With that being said, guys, you really can't go wrong with this.
It was an interesting twist that, they, in order to deal with this situation, they got rid of the sister and that was like possessed, and they got her out of the apartment. Yeah. And then that's when the Indian food hit the fan. Yeah. And unwittingly, unbeknownst to them, that was the worst thing that they could have done. And I'm not going to spoil what happens, but let's just say it's after that all hell breaks loose.
Yes. Well, we're not giving away too much there.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of the movie goes on in the peephole.
Yeah, you see in the trailer, I mean, how can I put this? The money shot in the Red Band trailer is the peephole scene. Yeah. My only critique, as I mentioned to Trauma Dom, is not the end, because, the end of a movie can be like several minutes. Like, it can be, the end of a movie can be 15 minutes. Just, let's not call it the end scene, let's call it the closing shot. I just hope, I had hoped that it would just tie things up a little better, or more creatively, I want to say. Yeah. And honestly,
I didn't like the monster at the end.
No.
I'll just come out and say that.
And honestly, the only other and that one for me is a small critique, because again, it's not, I wasn't disappointed with the end or the closing scene.
No, me either.
It just could have been a little bit more finessed. That's minor, believe me. I'll take that over, seeing wasted opportunity. And honestly,
Terrible premise, terrible graphics.
yeah, bad
Everything.
acting,
Yeah.
stupid dialogue, decisions that people wouldn't make.
Virtue signaling.
Oh, that was
Obnoxiousness.
another thing. And again, I have to go back to the remake. There was like, you want to keep in a good horror movie, you want to be isolated. A cabin in the woods, a haunted house, you're trapped in outer space.
This was unique.
This was unique because of the way in which these people become isolated. The way that it maintains these characters in their single location film or single location story. When they're trying to get out and they can't, I like I have to tip my hat again to the remake because the way that they did that, the way that they handled that in the remake was great, and we mentioned that at last week's watch party.
Yes.
And the way that they do it here in two different ways was phenomenal. Hats off to them. And I'm glad I mentioned that because I almost forgot about that detail. And Trauma Dom asked what my other critique would be, and besides the closing shot, you know what other critique I have? I just wanted more. I wanted more. I could have used another 20 minutes of this film, and not because it lacked anything, but that's the sign of a good movie. When it leaves you wanting more, not needing more. Because if it's needing more, they screwed up somewhere. There's a plot hole, something doesn't make sense, something wasn't given enough time to breathe, and that's the other point I wanted to make. When this movie needs to tell something like quickly and hit you with that gut punch, it knows how to do that swiftly. When the movie needs to drag something out and make you like anticipate what's gonna happen because you know it's coming and you know it's gonna be bad, but you just don't know how and you don't know when. Guys, watch this movie. We've throughout watch parties, throughout movies that we've seen a lot of duds. We've seen a lot of movies that had potential. We've seen movies that just flat out sucked.
Yes.
But we have had our share of good to great movies. Watch this movie. I endorse this 100%. And man, I look forward to seeing people's reactions. I look forward to people acknowledging this film for on its own merits, for how good it is, how scary it is. I look forward to people capitalizing on this movie that is almost a redemption for the reception that was the remake.
Yes.
I'm stunned over the fact that we got this. I'm stunned that it was so well made, just top to bottom. And it didn't have what do you call it? Too many special effects to distract from anything. It didn't have, eye-rolling commentary. It has a sister that's going through some impossible situation that she was not expecting to be in, because who the hell would be? And you're there with her. Her performance was very believable. There's times where she's showing genuine vulnerability, and when she's able to overcome that for the good of her family, in order to get them out of this insane situation, she's able to take that roller coaster ride, and we're right there along with her. So, man, solid, just solid. What do you call this? Recommendation. When Orphan First Kill and The Cursed came out, it was almost like sudden. Like, it wasn't something that was heavily promoted ahead of time for me to really have a long and drawn out anticipation for it. That was the case with Antlers because it had gotten delayed because of the pandemic.
COVID.
This movie, I can honestly say, from the stills, the images that they were drip feeding to the public, from the teaser, the 2 trailers, I made sure not to watch the last. I think they came out with one more trailer and a clip, and I made sure not to watch them because I didn't want to. I was like, all right, I saw the red band trailer. I saw the green band trailer. I'm good. Movie, you have my money. I'm sold. So, man, it's like, you know why I'm so surprised? Because we don't get movies like this. We
No.
don't get promotions like this. We don't get the proper build up to start, not necessarily the hype cycle, but get people interested or talking about the film anymore. And I think that's what it is with me. Every bit that I have seen of this movie, from the stills to the teasers to the trailers, hasn't disappointed, and has only, like, it's built upon each other. So the film was finally that crescendo where I could just, you know, have the natural conclusion to everything that's been built up, and my anticipation building up. So I'm stunned. I'm so happy that we got to see this. It would have been great at a drive-in theater, but let's not harp on that.
Yes. No, if anything, this makes me angry.
Yeah.
It really does. I mean, you got a bevy of benefits here. And I mean, my best advice to you guys is not only to like and subscribe, pay the money to see this movie. Don't see this shit on Fire Stick or any kind of free casting. Bring as many people to the theater as you can, because this is the kind of stuff we need. And I would rather have one movie like this come out once a year than to take in all the cinematic dreck that they put out on a monthly basis.
Seriously.
I mean, this had everything in it. I felt like I've been robbed all year.
Yeah. Seriously. I genuinely hope that when the Blu-ray and the 4K comes out for this, I hope that there are like 20 minutes left on the cutting room floor that they reinsert, because
Yes.
I remember when we saw the stupid extreme cut of Megan or some crap. There was like,
It was an extra dance scene.
yeah, there was nothing. It was just more of the crap that we already saw. So like you know, nothing was gonna fix that bad flop.
No.
But with this, oh my god. Like I said, the only real criticism I had is that I could use more.
Exactly.
And that's what a good movie should do. It should leave you wanting to see more, and let us all wish upon a star and pray upon a book that we get more of this. And not just more of this movie, more movies like this movie. So, absolute solid recommendation from your horror host Inkarnate. Guys, watch this movie. Come back to this video and please comment on it, because I would love to hear your comments about what you thought of this. Are you a traditionalist that prefers the slapstick of the legacy sequels and the show? Have you ever seen the remake, and what do you think of this? Were you looking forward to this movie? Please, if you're watching this, please come back and leave a comment here, because I would genuinely like to know. I would like to know, because I feel like with the kind of split that we've gotten with the franchise, we've gotten 6 live action adaptations, including the TV series. 1/3 of the franchise is now that serious kind of tone. So, I mean, even though I wouldn't agree with traditionalists, with hardliners who say, I like my Evil Dead more the comedic route. I just prefer to remember it with Ash Williams. Why I wouldn't agree, I would totally understand. Hey, I am a Nightmare on Elm Street traditionalist, and I prefer more of the serious than the slapstick. So, and you know, I would say that the Nightmare on Elm Street fans are split in that regard. More so, I would say that they lean towards the horror than the comedy. But I'd genuinely be interested in that discussion. So, for the last time, this is Inkarnate and Trauma Dom signing off, unless you have something closing words for the fans.
None, guys.
So, this has been Inkarnate and Trauma Dom signing off. So, yeah, I mean, we so very rarely does something like this come about, and it, how can I put it? It delivers. You know what I mean? I know I said it before that the promotion has just been spot on. Nothing about this movie in the lead up to it has given me pause. Has even made me cautiously optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic about Stephen King's The Boogeyman that comes out in June. This one, I was with all the way. I was confident that they were not going to drop the ball. I was confident that it was not going to disappoint. I was confident that the spirit of the remake was going to relive once again in this film. Again, this was executive produced by Robert Tappert, who is Sam Raimi's writing partner. Sam Raimi himself, the director of the Evil Dead franchise, as well as executive produced by Bruce Campbell. You know, they hit it out, they knocked it out of the park as far as I'm concerned. So go out, watch this movie, support good horror, and come right back and leave a comment to tell me what it is that you thought about this. So, I've been Inkarnate, reminding you, I ain't just a big deal, I'm the real deal. You're resigned to your fate? Time to subscribe to your fears.
Warn your friends. Warn everyone.